My best friend stole 3 years of my work. 8 months later, he came back begging. He was my best friend. For 3 years, we worked side by side, chasing a dream that no one else believed in. We had no money, no investors, no connections, and no safety net. All we had was one idea, endless determination, and the kind of friendship that felt unbreakable. We started in a tiny rented room with cracked walls, one old laptop, and 2 plastic chairs. In the summer, the heat was unbearable. In the winter, the room felt colder than the streets outside. But none of that mattered to us. Every night, we stayed awake until 2 or 3 in the morning, building something we hoped would one day change our lives. When we got tired, we would make cheap tea and laugh about the future. One day, he used to say, "We'll remember these days and smile." People mocked us. They said our idea would never work. They told us we were wasting our youth. But every insult only pushed us harder. We promised each other that we would prove everyone wrong. And slowly we did. After 2 years of struggle, people started noticing our work. The numbers began to rise, our audience grew. Money started coming in for the first time. Opportunities opened. For the first time in years, it felt like life was finally turning in our favor. I believed the hardest part was over. I was wrong. One evening, he called me. His voice sounded calm. "Brother," he said, "I think I want to do something different now. Maybe it's time for me to move on." I was surprised, but I respected his decision. People change. Dreams change. I wished him well. The next morning, I woke up to a nightmare. Everything was gone. The accounts were locked. Passwords had been changed. Our pages, our files, our audience, our brand. Everything had been transferred under his name. 3 years of sleepless nights, sacrifices, ideas, and effort had vanished overnight. I sat there in silence, staring at my phone. I didn't know what hurt more, the loss of the business or the betrayal of the person I trusted most. 1,000 thoughts raced through my mind. I wanted to call him, I wanted to scream, I wanted answers, but I did none of it. Instead, I stood up, opened a blank page, and started again. Alone. This time, there was no partner, no shared dream, and no one to rely on. Just me, the same small room, and the same cheap cup of tea. But something had changed. Before, I was working with hope. Now, I was working with fire. For the next several months, I disappeared. While others talked, I built. While he celebrated what he stole, I created something stronger. Every night, I worked in silence. Every setback became fuel. Every memory of betrayal became motivation. 30 days later, I uploaded my first new project. The response was small, but real. 60 days later, people started returning. "Where have you been?" they asked. "We missed your work." 90 days later, momentum shifted. His growth slowed. Mine accelerated. 180 days later, I had built alone what we once built together, and then tripled it. The same people who once doubted me were watching. The same people who once praised him were noticing the truth. And through it all, I said nothing. Then, 8 months later, I received a message. "Can we talk?" I already knew who it was. We met briefly. He looked different, less confident, less certain. He lowered his eyes and said the words I never expected to hear. "I was wrong. I'm sorry. I made a mistake. Can we work together again?" For a moment, I just looked at him. There was no anger left inside me, no desire for revenge, no need to humiliate him. because life had already done what I never needed to do. So I gave him one answer: no. Then I stood up and walked away. No shouting, no insults, no drama, just one word. And somehow that one word weighed more than all 3 years he had stolen from me. People think betrayal destroys you. Sometimes it does the opposite. Sometimes the person who betrays you doesn't break you, they free you. They remove the distractions. They expose the weakness around you. They force you to discover your own strength. Today, I stand alone. But I stand as my own man, and that is the greatest revenge of all.